purpose is explored. You have to be very, very categorical about what it is that you want. Close the tabs. You see, most people don't close tabs. If there's something that you need to do, finish it. So when you have a habit of not closing things, that is why you come to experience, even in life, things don't come to you in completion. Money is energy. Money does not come from anywhere else other than what you do. People think that they're supposed to make money through doing. You make money through being, so that you become a magnet for money. How you become a magnet for money is through inspired action. Most people don't take inspired action, they just take action. And so people who think that small money is different from big money are the ones who will always have a problem, because the effort it takes to manifest 10 shillings is the same effort it takes to manifest 1,000,000 shillings.
How do you navigate rock bottom and still do away with the victim mentality?
When you fall, you take the time, first of all, 5 minutes, to just be in the moment and ask yourself, why did I fall? That's what people don't do. You want to be quick to rise, focused on everything else other than why did I fall? So when you don't learn the lesson now, like we said in the beginning, God and the universe are very patient, very patient. The lesson, you'll find it 2 years again.
When people come to you, what are some of their struggles?
Most people don't know how to make a decision because of the consequences. You say most people want the benefits of success without the process.
Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of LNS. My name is Lynn Ngugi, and you know the greatest joy for me is always coming together for another episode where we get to do our 3 important things this year: learn and relearn. And I'm pretty sure you've got my guest, or especially on her TikTok platform. She is so aware. She told me I'm self-aware, but I believe she's the one who is very, very self-aware. When she talks about self-mastery, when she talks about you knowing you, when she talks about you stop doing these things that you keep doing that are derailing your life, and the way she even expresses herself, for me, it's always mind-boggling for me. The way she does her things, the way she speaks to us, the way she makes you listen, and the way she has mastered the art of public speaking. I believe that is something that we can all benefit from. But I always say, for every story, for every testimony, there is a story. I've always wanted to know, what is your story? How are you this brave? And sometimes I know brave to us is how much we can be able to express ourselves. But for me, bravery is being able to stand and follow your passion with consistency and discipline, and being a pro in that particular field. And I know she has mastered that. I cannot wait for her to share her story with us so that we know where she's been and where she is right now. But before that, please allow me to say thank you to our amazing partners of today's conversation, Kings Developers Limited. Thank you so much for coming through. And I know the year is 2025 and we are all doing different things. We have different goals. But if one of your goals is owning a home with an ISO certified real estate company, why don't you try our people at Kings Developers Limited? Check out their apartments. Their contact details are on the screen. Reach out and ask them what else they have for you. And don't forget to talk to them about their flexible payment plan. And also to say thank you to you guys. Every time I see our YouTube buttons here, it's always a constant reminder that we would not have done this without your support. I have always said, Lynn, si lazima upike chakula na watu wakule. So I don't take any moment that you guys come together and feast together through these conversations for granted. And of course, I also don't take my team for granted. Akina Muga Scholar and the rest of the people at LNN, thank you so much for always coming through. I've always said you get to see me in front of the camera, but it takes an entire team to be able to put this work together. And now, of course, without further ado, please allow me to let my guest introduce herself so that we can be able to learn and relearn together. Hello.
Hi, Lynn.
Hello.
Hi, Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
God, you look amazing.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, you've done such an illustrious introduction. I'm like,
Who, me?
yes.
No. Let me tell you, sitting next to you,
Yes.
it's very intimidating, I have to say. I keep watching my words. Did I say the right thing? Lynn, did you use the right English there? Lynn, what are you talking about? So in the back of my mind, I'm like, Lynn, don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. You know?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Coming from you, this is such an encouragement, and it's also it means a lot to me. But first off, before I can even introduce myself,
Yeah.
I just want to give you your flowers because I've been watching you since the time you used to do Tuko, and you're just a small girl, just doing your thing, and then seeing you grow into such a big brand. Because for me, this has been, when you reached out, I was like, oh my goodness, the Lynn has reached out. This is a testament to the kind of work that I do, and so I really appreciate it. I have to say, Manze, congratulations for the kind of work that you're doing. You don't know the kind of impact that you have. And even, the video that led us to this point, I was saying to myself that if there's any place I'd ever want to be, like such a big platform has always been this. Wow. And I want to say this when it comes to visualization and also, the power of manifesting. So I had mentioned this to you that last year you were on my vision board. And then when last year ended and it didn't happen, I was like, it will happen when it will happen. So this year, obviously I had something else. And when you reached out, I was like, when the time is right, the Lord will make it happen. And I'm like, and it was so seamless, wasn't it? It was so seamless how I managed to show up here. And so I'm really, really thankful for the kind of work that you do and the impact that you have, because me sitting next to you means that I'm in the right circle. Being in the caliber of a woman like yourself, because you don't understand the kind of impact that you do have, especially for people like myself. So even for you to like put me sort of on a pedestal, I'm like, please, I'm the one who's supposed to be doing the fangirling, not the other way around.
Okay, let's fangirl on each other, because me, I won't stop fangirling on you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So my name is Nangami Masakha, but my name, I have like 4 names. So my name is Rachel Masi Nangami Masakha. For people who went to school with me, they're like, who is this Nangami? We knew Rachel.
Yes.
So that's my name. And I am a public speaker by training. I'm a corporate trainer, and then I'm a mentor. But besides that, I am very resilient. I'm someone who has gone through the most, and life has taken me to the trenches and back. And I love to say that the things that I survived, there's certain people who would not be able to survive what I've gone through. So this speaks to my resilience, and especially as a public speaker, because coming up, I used to be told that you cannot be a public speaker. I used to call myself a public speaker before I was even able to speak. And obviously, you see the people who've gone before, like the likes of Mel Robbins, Lisa Nichols, Tony Robbins, and our very own Vusi Tembekwayo. Usually, people used to tell me, you see these people, they run big business, they're authors, renowned speakers. So what are you? What's your claim to fame? What can you say that is going to make you, that quintessential public speaker? So there's always that, you can't do this, you can't do this. Yes, and I just went into the trenches, did the work, and right now I can call myself a public speaker. So that speaks to my resilience and also life, what I've gone through in terms of my life. But other than that, it's not here to, party poop, because you're here to have an amazing time. I'm also a lover of life. I love to travel. If my bank balance would allow me, I would travel. I would travel to every destination that I want, because I love the soft life. I love that I'm at this point in the world when I'm supposed to be at, because I'm so sure when my grandmother, her name is Rachel Nangami, she passed on in the 1981-80. I never got to meet her, and that's why I was given her name. And I'm so sure if she was to wake up from the grave today and see what we are capable of doing, especially as women, because she was born, raised, got married, and died in the village. She never got to see the world as it is, and that's why I carry on her name with so much privilege, that I'll get to have her name now, have access to places where she never had access herself. And she was an amazing woman. She was incredible, only that she never had opportunities to exercise her greatness. That is why I carry this name with so much pride, because I know that she lives in me, and she guides me, she protects me, because her DNA is within me. And then besides that, I'm a lover of family. I have a family of 2. I have a 14-year-old. He'll be turning 14 years this year. So yeah, that's about me. Because if I was to talk about me, we're going to be here for the longest time.
No, and
so
we got time.
And
we have time, But I have noticed you've embraced your African names.
Yes.
Is that by choice or by chance?
By chance, let me say chance, because should have been 2017, 2018, I went through a rough patch and I was looking. You see, we're always seeking the truth. So I was at a place in my life where I had hit mini rock bottom, where things are not working and then you're trying to look for answers, you're trying to look for help. And I felt like, born as a Christian, I didn't have those answers then. They weren't making sense to me. Every time you ask a question, don't be too nosy, don't be too curious. This is what you should know up until this point. So I decided to go on a pursuit to find out for myself who is God and what lies before me or beyond me. So in my research, obviously, I landed upon Rastafarians.
Yes.
And I really love the fact that they're all about going back to nature and culture and going back to your roots, accepting who you are. And that's the time I decided now to drop the English name, Rachel Massey, and now stick to Nangami Masakha as a way of me going back to my roots. Yeah. And it was an incredible 4 years because I was in the culture for 4 years and I met the most amazing people. I was in Mombasa at that time, really wise, calm, laid back people. And it really taught me a lot. Then after that, I became agnostic now. I was like, okay, God exists, God doesn't exist.
God, you become what?
Agnostic.
Okay, what does that mean?
You're not certain.
You're not certain.
Yes.
Then I'm going to ask you a lot of things. What does this mean? Please forgive me.
Okay.
So, you okay?
Yes, I was agnostic. You're not so sure. Okay, God exists, but who is God? Where is he? Is he the Christian, the Muslim, the Buddha God? So you're just in the middle. You don't know really where to go. And obviously then 2 years later, so for that period, I was just moving through motions, just through the motions. I was like, I don't know who God is. I'm just going through it. Whatever happens to me happens. And then obviously then 2 years later, that's when I perhaps found the answer that I've been looking for. And usually I say, go seek. That's why the scripture says, seek ye the kingdom of God. You have to seek. And when you seek, you'll find things that will work for you. And then you'll find things that are just nonsense. Yes. But it has taken you time. Like it'd be 2 months. Like you pick a book and you read it and you're like, this makes sense. Only for you later, after you're done with the book, to realize that theoretical aspect has been debunked. You're like, and I almost bought it. Yeah. I almost bought that idea, and that's the pursuit or the path for seeking. So when you're seeking and then you don't find it, you're like, you will not seek today and find it tomorrow. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to be unsure and uncertain. And one thing I like is that God or the universe are really patient. They're really patient with you. They'll give you the time to make mistakes, stand up, and so that by the time you get to your, you get to your final, let me have this.
It's okay.
You get to your final now juncture,
yes,
you're certain, you're sure this is where I want to be, because now nobody makes that decision for you. Right. You make it by yourself.
Do you think that's something we should embrace more? Because I've seen a lot of people telling me, Lynn, I found myself, as a Christian. Some people will find themselves as Muslims, yes, but they don't even understand the details. They don't understand the dynamics. And I always feel like there's a lot of criticism when someone says, I'm in the journey, I'm searching for who this person is. Yes. What is this religion? Why am I a Christian? Do you think that's something we should embrace more, something we should vouch for more? 100%.
And I think people should be allowed and given the grace to find God for themselves. Because the moment you find God for yourself, then it becomes very difficult for anyone to move you to the center. It becomes very difficult for someone to even initiate you into something that is sort of a cult or sort of something that you don't want to be. You just found yourself, you're doing it out of obligation. Yes. So for me, even when I talk matters, because I'm a believer, by the way, I didn't mention, I'm a believer and I believe in the concept of Jesus Christ. So, and for me, when I look at the concept of Jesus Christ, it's because I went into studying the man, not just what the scripture says about the man. And then I came to realize that Christ was very incredible when it comes to self-mastery. That is not something that is talked a lot about, because I read books that talked of the 18 years where Christ was missing in the scriptures. You see, where he traveled to Egypt and he traveled to the East to go, to learn under different masters. Yeah. And so this goes on to show you that what he was able to do was not just because he's a son of God. It's because much as he was, yes, let's say the son of God, but he was a human being and he did the human work in terms of becoming and mastering reality, because he's a master reality. He's mastered reality and he mastered purification. Yeah. That's why he was christened. So even getting to understand now the man has made me easier to understand now, why am I doing this? If I'm doing this, it's not just he did, he said. I have a genesis of where it all started, and you can do this. Now I understand when the scripture says that when Christ told the disciples, or when he was telling his people that you'll be able to do greater works, or when he says, my Father and I are one.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Good.
So it really now makes, when you study the man, you understand when he says, my Father and I are one, where that comes from. And it's not just because I'm the Son of God and I appeared from. It's, he had been to a place where now he's in unity with divinity. And most people don't get there. And also getting to understand that the Bible is a metaphysical book, that most people read it from a physical and literal understanding. And I think this journey, the moment you go about it, you appreciate now scripture and perhaps spirituality from a different environment. Then you understand that everything is connected. When you read scripture, you understand, even the things in the Bible and parts of our African practices or ancestral practices, they're almost similar, things that are not talked about a lot. Yes.
Oh, you get a deeper understanding of things. But I know, guys, we are going to start on the conversation, I promise you. But you also spoke about knowing you are the it, even when the world did not think you had anything to offer.
Yes.
Right? So for anyone that is watching, because I've gone through the same, through self-doubt, but I knew, man, you know, you always know deep down, you always know what you're supposed to be. You always know where you're supposed to go. But then I don't know what happens between us, maybe our teenage years and this adulting. And by the time you're 30, you know, you are confused. You can't go back to what you knew. This is what I wanted to be. There's a lot of self-doubt in you. So for you, how do you still stay knowing, you know, you guys are saying I'm not it, but I know I'm it. How do you fight that self-doubt in between?
Perfect question, because it will arise, and not just from people. In fact, the most painful thing usually comes when people who doubt you are the people closest. Because you know, when strangers doubt you, they don't know you. But when the closest people who you're like, they're supposed to support you and cheer you on and say, we know you can do this, I've always known you could do this, are the ones who are like the first people to tell you you can't do it, because perhaps they know your strengths and they know you can't do this. Usually it hurts. But then again, because of doing the work on myself and self-mastery, I came to realize that I used to listen to a lot of motivational speaking. So this is what the genesis started to this. I am trained as a financial analyst, finance and banking, then went ahead and did financial analysis. So by training, I'm a financial analyst. So I was working for a company in Mombasa, and then it folded. So I needed to find something else to do. I needed to have work. And I hit rock bottom to the extent that I went to stay with a cousin, because I had been locked out of my house, couldn't make rent. And with my son, we went and lived at my cousin's place. And she was generous enough. Hi, Lucy. She was generous enough to have allowed myself and my son to stay at her place for close to 8 months. And she gave me free rein to, you know, take as much time as I want until I'm able to get on my feet. So she wasn't pressurizing me to like contribute. You know, sometimes someone can know you don't have a job and you're staying with them and they're like, so we don't have unga. Mafuta ya kupika. And you're like, I don't even have 100 bob on me, you know, the pressure. So she never gave me any of that pressure. So I wanted to go back on my feet, and I started asking myself, what can I do? I didn't want to go back to doing numbers. I'm really good at numbers, by the way. But then I figured this is not the thing that I want to do. I want to do something else. I had a love for the stage, because back in primary school and also in high school, I was in drama. So, by the way, I was in Limuru Girls. So in Limuru Girls, I was the drama club chairlady. So I loved being on stage. So as I'm writing down things, I read from the book, The Originals, or is it Original? That you're supposed to have, if you want to find something that is novel, you have to like write 20 ideas. Those are going to be like the conventional things that you want to do. And then from then on, when you have to scratch your head to figure out what else can I do, that's when you're outside the box. So obviously I started with, I want to be a DJ.
Scholar, what? Nataka kuwa DJ.
I was like, I wrote that. I was like DJ, I was like videographer, I don't know, music director, because I loved things to do with art. So I was like, this is the only way I can get into this thing. Let me see what I can do. So when I got to the 20th, I was like public speaker, because I had the term public speaking. I think it was number 23 thereabout. I was like, public speaking, I don't know what it is. So I go on, obviously, YouTube. Who is a public speaker? What is public speaking? I find so many things. And obviously the people that come on are Les Brown, Miles Monroe, Tony Robbins. So I'm like, okay. I listen to them, I'm like, I can do this. Then I see the crowds that they move, because of the very 20 things I wrote, one of it was acting. So I was like, no, I'm too old. Like going back to Kenya National Theatre, no, I'm old for me to go back to start looking for gigs at the Kenya National Theatre. So let me look for something that is related to being on stage, but not necessarily acting. So that's how I landed on public speaking. Then I started following this gentleman. But then again, I was like, I'm not so sure because they are, from the West, and how they speak to a different market, how they charge like exorbitant prices. So I'm looking for people who are doing the thing here in Kenya.
Yes.
In Africa.
Yeah.
Obviously, I landed on Burale. Then there's one comedian who had posted a video from someone, and I liked how that person spoke. So I went and pressed on that repost. This is 2017, 2018. This is Instagram. I went and pressed on it. Then who's that? Vusi. And I binge watch his videos. I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to do this. So obviously he was talking about business, but then again, every once in a while when he was talking matters to do with just personal development, self-improvement, how to be an incredible person, I could buy into whatever it is that he was speaking. So that is where my love now for public speaking came. Remember, I had not touched a book from the time I left high school, apart from the books I used to have in campus.
Yeah.
So I said, if I want to do this, then I have to put myself in the trenches. I have to go and pick a book and start reading. The first book I picked was Roots. The one for Kunta Kinte. Yes. That's what I picked. And it's like a big volume. So I picked that book, started reading it, and I said, I couldn't bring myself to finish it, but I said, I have to finish it to prove something to myself that this is the journey I want to be on. So I did that for 8 months. I would pick a book after a book after a book. Then I started now becoming easy when it comes to my understanding, because I understood that when you read, it's going to improve your repertoire when it comes to your vocabulary.
Yes.
So that's what I was doing. And I was listening a lot now to the podcast. And this is something that I would say to someone who's hit rock bottom. When you have hit rock bottom, your focus has to be on yourself. It can't be on anyone else, because you're the only one who can take you out of the trenches. So I wasn't spending a lot of time elsewhere. So I spent 8 months, haven't met with the world for people to know now I'm a public speaker.
Yeah.
So when I come out and say, now I want to be a public speaker, that's when I get the question. You want to be a public speaker? What have you done? You need to have a claim to fame.
Yes.
Like, I'm a public speaker because I'm an author. I am a coach. You see, all of these public speakers have something they're doing. They are life coaches, they are authors, they are business people. I don't have anything, don't have any of that. So it kept on demoralizing me. But then again, like you mentioned, because I had studied these people, I know what lies ahead of me. I know what I'm capable of doing. And I know I've got a story. I know I've been through something that I can tell people. I know there's something that 1 or 2, 3 people can learn from me. So let me just keep on persisting. And it was 4 years of cricket. 4 years of cricket, where you're asked to go and speak to places where obviously you don't get the payment, you're speaking for free. But one thing I liked about it was that is me doing the work. I was honing the skill. So obviously I knew I don't have a plan B. I can't go back to anything else, because this is what I want to do, and I think I have it. And the beautiful thing is, back in the day when I was in primary school, high school, I used to do really nice compositions.
Yes.
So I knew, and people used to say, you speak so well. So I was like, I've got the gift of gab.
Yeah.
I can,
Yeah.
I can, this is something that I can hack. I can do this. I can tell you the number of times my parents were really sorry for me. They're like, you need to look for a job. Just look for something really you can do. Like you can work. I always wanted to work at the NSE, Nairobi Stock Exchange, or the capital markets, because I'm a financial analyst. So they kept on telling me, like, you can get yourself a job in a nice bank, investment banking, and do all of these things. Why are you going to speak places where you're given 3K, 5,000? Sometimes you have to spend your own fare, and then you go there, you speak, and you're not given anything. But then again, I realized that was my period of preparation. I understood. That was my David moment in the desert.
You understood.
Yes, nobody was looking, nobody was seeing the progress, but it was there. And I knew that I was being ironed out, pigwa msasa, and I appreciated it. Now it took longer because maybe I didn't have mentors, and I was doing it by myself. So if I had mentors, perhaps it would have taken a shorter period. But I was doing this by myself, and I was really patient with myself, because I understood that this is what I wanted to do. I even went and started a YouTube video.
No way.
I wanted to talk about the things I'm talking about. People told me, lifestyle does better on YouTube. Like, give people lifestyle content.
Yes.
Come with me to Gog.
Yes.
Gee, this is my shoe rack.
Yeah.
Look at the shoes I bought. This is my apartment. This is the dinner I'm preparing for myself. So I tried doing it.
No.
Yes. I tried doing it, but it was so off. It was so inauthentic. It was so inauthentic. And then I just stopped. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you realize that's what is there. Because I figured this is not me. I don't find pleasure, and the audience can tell. Yeah. They can tell when you're off.
You are doing something and you're off. God, I've picked so many things, but let me go back to when you're at rock bottom. What prevented you from, going through, just coming out as a victim and saying, I've gone through this, because I'm seeing you doing the work while you are still at rock bottom.
Yes.
But that's not what most of us will do. I'm at rock bottom. I'm here. Please feel sorry for me. I'm at rock bottom. I don't know what to do. I'm at rock bottom.
Yes.
It's like rock bottom gives you a pass to feel the way you need to feel. It gives you a pass for excuses. It gives you a pass for that victim mentality. So how do you navigate rock bottom and still do away with the victim mentality?
That's a good question, because even for me in the beginning, I was just playing the victim. I was like, oh, you know, the economy, people did this, that, and the third, this is what has happened. Then again, when I started listening to people, because you know, when you're at rock bottom, you need a lot of encouragement. You need to look up to people. So I was looking, every day I would wake up in the morning, feel so bad about my situation, and there was no one to encourage me. You know, you're a grown up. Nobody's going to, people encourage you today and tomorrow, and then they move on to their things in their lives.
Because they got things to do.
They got things to do. And then you can't keep on borrowing people money every day. Like, you just know when Nangami is calling, she needs 1,000 bob, she needs 1,500. At some point, people get tired. So when here's something I should say, I was privileged. I understand my privilege because I had someone who would take me in. So I did not have the anxiety of, I need to pay rent, I need to buy food. Yeah. So much as that is there, when I was listening to people, this is why I also wanted to be a public speaker, because I said, I want to do to others what these people have done to me, because I listen to a lot of people who are talking about, you know, the discipline, the commitment, the consistency. And my cousin Lucy will tell you, she usually reminds me, she tells me, you're the only person who I know when you hit rock bottom, you used to wake up. She said Monday to Sunday, I used to be up by 5. When I was living at her place, I never slept in the bedroom. I used to sleep in the living room, just to make sure that I don't oversleep and I don't make myself comfortable. So I used to sleep on her seat, to make sure, just to make sure that when people are up by 5, you're also up. You know, when you get to someone's house and you're too comfortable, everyone is up, people are preparing to go to school, you're still sleeping. I said, that's not what I want. I want to be the first person to wake up because I'm in the sitting room. That's the first thing. And then secondly, I also made sure that I was working on my physique. So I kept on doing a lot of work to keep myself sane, because I understood. Now I was listening to so many people, and they're saying, you see, when you listen to these motivational videos on YouTube, I was hungry. You're supposed to work. To outwork. You cannot outwork me. You cannot out.
Have you listened to David Goggins?
I love David Goggins. Yes.
He made me work out for 3 days. Then I said, okay, Lynn, Vanna. Hey, stay hard.
Stay hard.
Every day in the morning, I used to like, Lynn, stay hard. Stay hard. Stay hard, Lynn. Yeah, I got a 6-pack now, guys. I'm kidding. No 6-pack, but at least I stayed hard.
You stayed hard for 3 days.
Yes.
That was progress. That was something. At least you did 3 days. So, and I used to do that, by the way. So I would wake up to those videos, and then I would work out. And so by the time it got to around 6, I've done most things. I have done my meditation. I've done my morning routine. I have worked out. I've taken a bath, and I'm ready to start the day. So for me, I knew I'm not going to work to get money, but I'm working on myself, because I am the investment. If I have to get out of here, I am the one who has to be in the mindset that will take me out of here, because I knew mindset was very important. And you know, whenever someone hits rock bottom, the first thing you're looking for is the doing. You want something that you can do. Give me a job. I want to do anything.
And also need to prove to people,
yes,
I'm not here for long.
I'm not here for long. And so for me, I understood that the growth will take as long as it takes. So for me to be at my cousin's, it took 8 months. You know, you don't have control. And you know, when you hit rock bottom, usually you think you know it. I'll be out of this situation in 2 months. Just give me 2 months. I'll be out of it. And then 2 months come, no job, no business, no nothing. It demoralizes you. And so for me, I was really patient with the process. So once I left, but the thing with the rock bottom is when you fall, and I've always said this, when you fall, you take the time, first of all, 5 minutes to just be in the moment and ask yourself, why did I fall? That's what people don't do. You want to be quick to rise. And that's what I did the first time. I was really quick to rise, which took 8 months, by the way. Really quick to rise, and I focused on everything else other than why did I fall. So when you don't learn the lesson now, like we said in the beginning, God and the universe are very patient, very patient. The lesson, you'll find it 2 years again. So years later, maybe 3-4 years again,
that is
rock bottom.
That's so profound. When you fall, take time.
Yes.
Embrace the moment. I've fallen. Here I am. Don't be quick.
Don't be quick. Why? What transpired? What did I do to get here? Because usually we are portioned. I was fired. Okay, were you fired because it was malicious intent, or you had a hand in it? I lost my marriage. Do you think you had a hand? You participated in the divorce? Yes, the person cheated, but do you think there's something you could have done better? So having those questions then allows you to learn the lesson, because if you don't learn that is why you find some people who will be kicked out of this house this month. They find another home, pay rent for 6 months. Again, after a year, they can't pay rent. They are given eviction notices. So people are just giving eviction notice every 2 years, every year, every 6 months. That's a pattern. And you have to understand, why is this happening? And it goes beyond money. I am a poor manager of funds. That's what is on the surface. There's something that goes beyond it. And I've said this, the people who are committed to shame, the people who are connected to humiliation. That's the energy that you go off on. And that is why you find that some people, they'll have success. Shoo! And then something scandalous will happen. Boom. After 2 years, they recover. Then they have success. Then something scandalous happens. They go back. Something either on the public, or they couldn't pay rent, or they couldn't do this. So you have to understand, why is it? Because you are committed, or you're addicted to public humiliation. So what you say with your mouth is, I don't like this, but your energy gets off of that.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's also pain. So there are certain people who are connected and committed and addicted to pain. So they'll even cry, I don't like pain, I don't like being taken advantage of. But every time they're talking about being taken advantage of, the energy that you're going off of is the pain. So even for me, when I hit rock bottom the first time, again, I found myself in rock bottom 2023 again. Yes. And this time it was worse. But then again, I learned my lesson the first time. So when it happened the second time, I said, till here and no further. I have to learn in the moment. What am I supposed to learn from this? Yes. So I could not have a victim mentality. And then I understood that people have things upside down. So people start with money, and then they end with spirituality. So they start with money. They're like, let me look for money. And then they look for health. And then they look for emotional stability. And then they look for physical now, their capabilities. And then they look now for spirituality. Now they're like, I want to self-actualize. Where is God? Who is God for me? Now when they have all the money.
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
When it's supposed to be spirituality, it's supposed to be the first thing. And then money usually finishes. Because once you take care of these 4 things, money becomes, it flows. You don't even have to look for it. It just flows.
It flows.
Yes. And that's why when people start with money, they'll spend the entire time now paying for these other 4 things.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you start with spirituality.
You pay.
You're good.
Once you start with spirituality, because you start with why am I here? Because once you start with the center, why was I put here? We just didn't show up. Even when it was through the most difficult circumstances that we landed here. And people who study reincarnation, by the way, for those who believe it exists or doesn't exist, but those who believe exists usually say this: if you exit this plane without having to complete your purpose, you will come again. The universe is very patient. It will send you back. So even if you take your life, you will come back and you'll still go through the same circumstances with people who had the same. You'll come back either now as a man. If you came as a woman, you come as a man, and the woman experience the same toxicity until you learn the lesson.
You are not living this.
You're not living this life
you
until
learn what you have.
What your lesson. And that is why now people who study Christ as master, that's why we say we are waiting for Jesus Christ to come. He completed his purpose. He doesn't have to come again.
Oh my goodness.
He doesn't have to reincarnate. He will come when he comes, when now everything is finished.
Yeah.
That's when he will come.
All right.
Yes. So that is when you learn now the ascended masters. You realize that the people who come different. That's why you look at children and you're like, this one was here.
Who you to Shamona? Who you?
This one came here. This was here. Yeah. And that is why when you study spirituality at a different angle, that's when you're told now, as you continue to ascend, you realize that there are lessons you're supposed to learn. That is why you have to understand, what's your purpose? The moment you fulfill purpose, there's no reason for you to come. Life becomes easy. Money is attracted to you. You can't get sick. You can't go through the situations and the troubles that people go through, because you're in your purpose. So once you start with spirituality, whoever God is to you, whoever it means, because once you come to realize that actually this world came into existence by one force, all of us believe that force was our force. So we believe that's the Christian God, that's the Allah, but it was one force that made everything. That means that it's one. So once you get to understand, why am I here? Why did that spark happen? That people who believe in science, that there was the Big Bang, there was a spark. And that spark was light. And that light went and created the galaxies, the universes, the very many things. And that is why we are a ball of light. So that light is deposited in each and every one of us, which they call the I am.
Yes.
So that I am, let it guide you. That's the spirit that you came from, God, or whoever you came from here.
Yeah.
And that is the one that is aware of what your mission is here. And that is why it doesn't matter how far away you go from that center. It will always bring you back, or you'll always be uncomfortable, or you'll do things that are making you money, but you're like, I'm just uncomfortable doing this. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Because your I am is like, that's not what you're supposed to do. Because you thought what you need is money, what you need is purpose. You stand in purpose, money comes. Even when that purpose, people talk about, do money, look for something that makes you money. If you find something that it's your purpose and it's your passion that you put here on the planet, you will find novel ideas to make you money with the thing.
I am in agreement.
Yes.
100%. So I know we are going to go to mastery, but let's go back. So we have spirituality.
Yes.
So for you would advise someone first to, I need us to end with money. So we have spirituality. Where do we go next?
After spirituality, you have to take care of your emotional well-being.
Okay.
You have to take care of your emotions, because if you're unstable emotionally, anything can happen to you. That is why they say, Christians say, we have left a door open for the devil to enter. And that door is anger, could be lust, could be fear. These are emotions. Yes. And that is why if you want to be off, you try to be emotionally easy to manipulate. People will take advantage of you. If you have low self-esteem, people will take advantage of you. Yes. If you have anger issues, people will take advantage of you. Or at least you will do the worst because out of anger, you're going to react. And I usually use this example when two examples I use with Christ, and allow me to use the example of Christ.
Feel free.
So,
this is a Christ
okay.
Feel free.
Oh, thank you. So when Jesus was feeding the 5,000, and the entire time he's teaching, he's minding his business, he's teaching. And then the disciples come and they're anxious. They're like, oh my God, all of these people, they have nothing to eat. If you can't provide for them, send us, let us go. Because we're like, how are we going to feed 5,000 people? Christ was done feeding us, giving them, the spiritual food. And he was just easy. He asked them. So he wasn't stressed. He wasn't like anxious, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So what do you think we should do? Let me go pray. Let me go speak to my father. Let me go find something. He didn't go on his knees, nothing. He was just like, okay, what do you have? And they said, we have a boy here who has got 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. Was it 5 loaves? Yeah, yes. That number. And he says, okay. And the first thing that Jesus does, he gives thanks. He gave thanks before it even multiplied. Wow. Before it multiplied, he gave thanks. And then there was multiplication. So multiplication does not come first, then you give thanks for the multiplication. You thank first for what is about to come, which most people don't do that. So you see, that is where most people fail. Like they want to give thanks after they have received. You're supposed to give thanks for what is about to come, because Christ was not anxious. He was not fearful. He was not worrisome at any point. He was not in doubt, because he knew if he needed it, it was provided in the moment. There was no emotional connection to the outcome. It will happen, it will not happen. Even when he cried about Lazarus, he was just minding his business. They come and tell him, by the way, your friend has passed on. He's like, okay, let me finish doing what I'm doing. He thought it was a joke. Then when they came back and they told him, actually, Lazarus, your friend has passed on. That's when he's like, oh my God, oh my father. Then he cried. Yes. But after he was done crying, that is when he went now to Lazarus and they said, Lazarus, come out. He did not do that when he was in the emotional state. Wow. It was after. You can't create in a state of emotion. You have to be grounded. So he did it after he had cried. And it was very far away. So by the time he was coming, he was in the place to create and to command. That is why spirituality is very important. Once you are one with the Father, he was one with divinity. Once you're one with that, emotionally becomes very difficult for you to be driven from the center. It has to be difficult for anyone. Once people capture your emotions, that is why love is an energy. It's not an emotion, it's an energy. That is why you and I can be in love, and you, out of obsession, if you heard that he has cheated, you will go and unalive him. Yes. And because you're coming from a place of obsession, anxious attachment, same energy. And for me, if he were to cheat, I will accept the what is and walk away. Yes. same energy, different reactions. It is very neutral. And so the thing that made you do what you did was your emotional state and your level of consciousness. And the thing that made me walk away is my emotional state. That's it. And that is why you have to be really mindful of your emotion. If someone can trigger you, then they have power over you. So emotional state is very important. That's why we have mental health issues, because most of them come from either your lack of taking care of your emotions or your mental state. And then obviously now we go to the mental aspects. Yes.
All right. So let's go back now to mastery, because one of the things, I think a quote that changed my life was something along maybe I'm paraphrasing, but the key to success is closing 999 doors and opening one door. And I was like, wait a minute, me, I have things I need to do. The way you've said, you wanted to be a DJ, you wanted to be an actor, here you are public speaking, you are doing, and sometimes I struggled with like, what's my purpose, by the way? Like, what's my purpose? Because I feel like I have so many passions in me. How do I narrow down to one?
And first of all, I'm going to say that purpose is explored. So you can't, and that's why people are like, I can't find my purpose. Yes, explore different things. It is not something, because you see, purpose changes. It's like soulmates change. They're not one thing. So right now I'm a public speaker. 20 years from today, I will go back to being a DJ, and I'll be one hell of a DJ.
When I drizzle bafale.
Yes, you'll just be seeing the 55-year-old in the club.
Nangami, wow. Wanna do the finish the move.
And I know people will come to look at this 55-year-old DJ. They're like, wow. she's great, she's amazing. And I'll do an incredible job. So that is going to be my purpose, to entertain, or it will be now in philanthropy, where people make money and they just now commit to doing charity work and helping others. That's their purpose then. And so it changes. It's not something that's static. So you explore and find out what works in the moment for me right now. So maybe at this juncture, what I'm doing is what the world needs more, and I'm stepping in that space. And then 20 years from today, the world would need something else, and I'll step into that space. And also, heed the call, because when he calls, then you answer and say, I'm here, use me, send me. But when it comes to purpose, you have to be very, very categorical about what it is that you want. Close the tabs. You see, most people don't close tabs. Close the tabs. People have so many tabs open. Close them. If there's something that you need to do, finish it. And you see, that is what we do. Now people are studying AI. Let me go and study AI. You start a course in AI, you hear, oh, you can make $100,000 in a year. You go study AI. Okay, you get to looking for the jobs. The jobs do not come. It's not easy to get the jobs. You drop it. Let me go and do data analysis. So you're not closing the tabs. And the problem that comes with this is people should understand that we are energy, and energy responds to you. You are the universe. You are it. Yeah. So when you have a habit of not closing things, that is why you come to experience, even in life, things don't come to you in completion. Like you have this meeting, Lynn, you're supposed to meet perhaps, I don't know, someone you revere. Let's talk about the first lady, the president, whoever you want to meet. And then you always realize that last minute, oh, he's out of the country.
Meet Denzel.
Who?
Meet not the president.
Who is it?
Denzel Washington.
Lynn. I have a feeling.
In a good way.
I have a feeling. What a good way.
It's Denzel Washington.
Oh, that is
Denzel Washington. Yes.
I don't like it.
Why?
Because now even for me, because that's what I've always.
Too?
Yes, Denzel. Who doesn't like Denzel?
Like it? Let's go together. Let's go together.
I like it when the spotlight is on me.
Hey, we know we can share.
Oh no, it's
no, like share the spotlight.
Yes, share the spotlight. Yes, I know, but I have to feast on the spotlight by myself. But I totally understand it. Yes, and that is why you'll always realize that it gets to a place where things never come to you in completion. So you want to meet Denzel Washington, you've met his staff, someone has introduced you, they've met the meeting, the arrangement, even now you have your visa ready, you want to travel, then you hear he's doing a Europe tour. And you have to push it to next year. So you almost get close. So you begin to ask yourself, why is it I have this 11th hour things? It's because you, as a person, has a habit of not completing things. You get almost to the end, you leave. You get almost to the end of it, you leave it. So that's how life will happen to you. So you have to make sure that you close the tabs. If you have started something, do it to take it to the bitter end. I'll tell you this, even with my classes, in the beginning, before I understood this, with my training, I would have a session that I'm supposed to do in 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. And then it's 10 weeks and we are yet to complete it. And then I came to realize, Nangami, close it. Close that tab. Finish it. As soon as you're supposed to finish it, just be done. Be done. Because sometimes I'd postpone. I'm like, I'm out of town. I can't do this. Now I realize. Last week, actually on Friday, I was on a particular TV station and I asked them if they want me to come, they have to organize and give me a room so that I can have a class with my students before I get on air. Yeah. So I said, because instead of canceling the class and say, oh, by the way, I have an interview today, so we will push the class to next week, I requested. So they gave me time and I had to ask my students to come in class early, or at least we are going to do an hour, so that I'm just done with that. And it gives you a sense of fulfillment when you close a tab. So when you close everything, the 99 things that are on your computer, because when you have so many things, what happens to your computer? It becomes slow.
Yeah, and you also confusion.
Yes.
Because you're on this tab, you're on this tab, you're on this tab.
You have to close things until you're left now with one. And learning to do that, subconsciously learn to finish things. I'm supposed to do this for 3 months. Let me just finish it. Get into the habit of finishing things. Now that is ultimate success.
I've never had anyone define it the way you just did,
right,
or narrow it down to how you just, you just put it in a way. Now I get it. Now I get it.
Right.
But the part now that confuses me also is, what if I love 2 things? I love public speaking. I love hosting this show. I want to go and be a music. Mine is to be a music. It's a DJ. Mine is to be a music producer.
Okay.
I want to be a music producer. And I feel like I can juggle all of them together. But then there's that. If you don't pay attention to one, you won't win in 3 of those.
Yes. Yes. I think, is it the saying, Jack of all trade, master of none, or something of the sort? Yes, you're a master of none.
Yeah.
So what you have to do, obviously, even it's something that applies in the business world, be a master at something. So you see, once you have mastered this, I think, Lynn, because so many people have called you the Oprah of Kenya. You're Kenya's Oprah. So you have mastered this. This is something that you do really well, such that if you were to give now your attention to the music production thing, or you give it to public speaking or something else, now, because you're already a master at this, you're able to transfer these skills that you have here to the other, because you have understood how things work. You have understood the entire system. You know that for me to get better, in the beginning, I'm so sure you used to do everything by yourself.
Yes.
You're the one who's outsourcing. Yep. You're the one who's looking for the clients.
Yep.
You're
Karibu nikae hapo, naeka kamera, naeka hii, nasema sawa Nangami. Haya. Start.
Karibu jifanyie everything. Yeah. When someone calls, they are speaking to Lynn themselves.
Yes.
But and I was even happy when I came here, someone else came to pick me. So you see, I was like, okay, now she's the boss. You just sit and you wait for the guest to come, then you do your thing. Because now here, you do what Lynn does best. You're not focused on everything else, because now people have taken up their slots. So the same thing will happen with music production. If you're to go there, you have now the money and the resources to put everything and systems in place, so that you're just the one who is interacting with the talent. You're not waiting to know, okay, which client are we signing to the label? Yes. What am I supposed to do? So it becomes easy now for you. Every place you go, you just become the person who's doing the thing. But it has to come from understanding now mastery, and mastering that one thing and figuring it out. Like for me, when I came onto social media, I was talking about public speaking. But public speaking, I've given you the genesis of it. I've been doing this for a very long time. So I can wake up in the middle of the night and create public speaking content. That's okay. So when I started talking about self-mastery and matters to do with women, this was a new environment for me. And that's why I spent a lot of time now like sharpening it. Because if a client came to me for public speaking, I would handle them like yesterday. I would give them what they want to do. And sometimes I know this one will figure it out, this one will not figure it out, just by seeing them and how they show up to the class, because I already known it. So it becomes easy now for me to do several things, now corporate training and all these things. And it will always arc back to the thing that I did previously. So even for you right now, you may not be a public speaker per se, but you're a public speaker, because based on the success you have here, people naturally will want you to come and speak. So you'll not even have to put a lot of effort and go and train yourself as a public speaker, because
My anxiety cannot. I don't know if it's anxiety, self-sabotage, whatever you call it. Here, I'm good. Out there.
But I'm so sure people have put a lot
Yes.
of faith in you. They know you can do it.
They
like,
do,
Will
but-
you come and talk to our women?
Yeah, but I also feel like sometimes it's knowing I can do it here, but I can't do it there. It's
What's the
being-
difference? Because you're still using the same skill
Which skill?
of speaking.
Unaangaliwa na watu hivi 100 hivyo. You know the way you are supposed, you know what I do? I mark a spot.
Okay.
I'm not leaving that spot because 1 minute from leaving it, I can freeze.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
True story. Maybe
And now I've
Buditi
seen
kwa
there's
event.
there's another I think event I show you did like you had a stage
Yeah,
and you had
I've
people.
done that. That's why sometimes people will be like, Lynn, do live recording.
Yes.
Do live audience. I'm like, I can try, but it's not the same feeling. It's not the same
Okay.
thing. Trust me, I've tried. I've done live events.
Yes.
I've had ask the team. I've tried, but most of the time I'll be crying in the stairs before it starts because my anxiety is on another level. Hey.
Then I guess for you it's just a mindset thing.
No, honey. I think it's because
You're in your head.
For real?
Yes, you're in
Maybe
your
walk
head.
me through
You're
it.
in your
How?
head. You're giving yourself too many stories. Because you see the audience is neutral and the audience is there to support you. But the fact that people are asking to see it's because they believe you've got something they don't. You've got something you know that they don't. And also they know that they love you for your mind. They love you for your talent, your skill, what you're doing. There's so many people who have tried to do what you're doing and they still haven't gotten to your level because there's something about you. And that's what attracts people to you and they want you to come and speak to them. So the audience, whenever an audience is looking at you, they're there to see you win. That's why they've paid with their time and sometimes money. They've paid, they've come to sit. So because you're in your head, you're like, this person is staring at me, or maybe my English is bad, and you begin to apologize for those things. You're the one who's self-sabotaging. Otherwise, the audience doesn't care. As long, there's this lady, she's called, I don't know if you've seen her, Pastor Selena.
Yes.
This Kalenjin woman who does emceeing, she has like Kalenjin accent, and she just speaks anyhow, she's loud. So you can see, she's not like your properly packaged public speaker, because emceeing is also public speaking. But when she comes to the audience, she knows people are here to be wowed, and she does an incredible job, and people like it, because how you show up is how we'll appreciate you, is how we'll take you. So I will not put pressure on her to be like a proper MC who's doing like proper clean jokes. No, she just shows up, she throws herself all over the place, and we love it. Certain audiences appreciate her and love her for it. So the audience usually is there for you to wow them. And then something else is because I think you have an issue with accepting and trusting in the quality of your ideas. Trust in the quality of your idea. You're very brilliant. And the moment you understand that actually people don't listen to dumb people.
Yes.
You don't bring dumb people to your set. You bring people who've got something, what it takes. So the moment you understand that, these people are coming to listen to me because they know I've got something, I'm brilliant. I've got that deposit within me. It makes you stand. And then Maya Angelou, you stand as one, you come as one, but you stand as 10,000.
Yes.
There's an entire army supporting you. This is what I usually say, even when I go into boardrooms. I say, you see Nangami walk in, but before she walked in, 1 million of people walked in. They're here, you can't see them. They're here to cheer me on. There's God the Father, there's the Holy Spirit, there's Jesus Christ consciousness, there's my ancestors. So many people are here cheering me on. So when I come, I know I have their support. I'll do well.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Skola tutokelezee. Nataka kutuona huko tumetokelezea. But I feel I get what you're saying.
Yes.
Maybe it's because sometimes you also don't trust in the quality of your ideas, and then you're like, what am I offering people that has not been offered?
Yes, that has not been said already.
What is it that I'm telling you that you don't know already? Maybe I think it's that.
Yes,
you know?
it's definitely that. Because if you were to, and I think, okay, maybe this might come off wrongly, but also you have not yet appreciated the grace that you carry. You have not yet appreciated it really well. Because if you did appreciate the grace that you have, you will take it on. You'll take the challenge. Yes. Because it's a privilege, Lynn. What you have is a privilege. Not so many people carry it. Not so many people have it. You're among the very few women. I've seen you on so many awards, women of and what all of those things you've won. Not so many people not so many women get it.
I know. Yeah, but I think I'm really doing well with this.
You're too modest.
Imposter syndrome. No, not modest. Imposter syndrome.
Okay.
You're thinking you don't deserve that. Why are you even giving me that?
And
what? Yeah.
And I'd love you to challenge imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
No, it's not.
It is.
For real?
Because it shows you that you are stepping out of your zone of comfort. And out of your zone of comfort is a place for growth. Because you're too comfortable here. When you go out there, you're outside your zone of comfort.
Yeah.
So you don't want to grow. You want to come back. And remember, the brain was created for your survival, not success.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's
so anytime you feel like you're a fraud, go do whatever it is that you need to go to do to be in the room. Because nobody brings you to the room if they don't think you measure up. So is it the skill? Get the skill. Is it the experience? Get it. Is it books you need to read? Go read. Come in and wow them and do what you need to do. So that's imposter syndrome. You're feeling like a fraud. It's because you are taken to another level where you're supposed to go and then you're refusing to grow. So take that as a challenge. Even for me, anytime I get into spaces and I walk into rooms, people who are well-read, more experienced, more talented, older, I'm asking myself, what am I here to do? What am I here to tell them that they don't already know? These are people who have everything and they can find people who are even better than myself.
Yes.
What did they invite me to do here? Because I know now that's imposter syndrome. I feel like a fraud. Then I understand, okay, nature is trying to make me grow. You've been in that place of comfort for a really long time. Yes, they will laugh at you. Yes, they will question you, but you are growing now in the process. And now you're becoming even more and even better.
Wow. I love that. That's a challenge taken and accepted.
Yes.
I'll give you feedback in a year. In a year, ukiniona uko juu, just know it's because you said something.
And I think a year is doable. Thank you, because you're not, sometimes people can be overambitious, but at least it gives you the time to be easy on yourself.
Yes, easy, just easy. Hakuna haraka, but
Hakuna.
The goal is to get there.
Yes.
The goal is to get there. But oh God, what was the question? What's that one thing you would wish people would know about mastery?
It is the basis of development, personal development and self-improvement. When you master yourself, you master everything about you. So you master your physical body, you realize, okay, I can't eat it, I can't do this, I can't. Your body, take care of your body, because it's the one that's supporting you. Your heart, remember, your heart was among the first organs to beat, and it will be the last to beat by the time your body is interred. And then 2, you have to take care of your mental space. So sometimes read, watch what you feed your mind, because we really we really focus on what we put in our mouths, but everything that goes through you, you have to be wary of it. Through you here, through you here, through you. There. You have to be very careful of what it goes, because you're feeding the body and you're feeding every bit, and what goes through you in terms of the spirituality. Who are you listening to? The people who've listened to certain people, and those people have ruined their lives. Yes, so you have to be really wary. So when you master yourself, number 1, you know who exactly you are, because most people don't know who they are. They know what they were told to be. And you have to know who you are. And I was saying this, I think, in even the video that people tagged you a lot on, is I'm very wary about the platforms that I go to speak. I've gotten to a place where I'm so self-aware, number 1, when it comes to my spirituality, that what I need will be provided. So I don't need to be everywhere. I don't need, you see, as a public speaker, usually you want to speak everywhere. You want, they've told me to speak how much? I want to speak here, I want to speak there, I want to speak. And what I know that would do is that people will want me to fit in their boxes. Like, oh, you want to come to speak, but you can't wear this, you can't do that, you can't say this, you can't say that. I have come to a place where I'm so assured that my daily bread will be given. So I don't need to be elsewhere looking for daily bread. It gives me a sense of understanding and fulfillment that I can be myself. And I will only be invited in places where I am a tribe to those people. So when I come on this set, you're not gagging me. Let us not delve in that topic a lot.
Please, usiende hapo kwa self-sabotage.
Hapo kwa imposter syndrome usikuja. Yes, because now whoever feeds you, I think, controls you. Yes. So I've come to a place where I have accepted myself for who I am. So even people, by the way, there's someone who said on social media that I'm a public speaker who's a toxic feminist, because I've said this too many times. I don't know what it means to speak for men. I cannot do that. When I speak for men, I will only speak because it is something I've read, it's something I've seen, it's something that I've had, but I do not have the experience
of a man
to speak with an authority when it comes to issues to do with men. I am raising a son, but I can tell you, I don't know how to raise a man. I can only be a mother to the boy. I can't be a father. I don't know what it means to be a father to a man. That is why I have people in my life who take up that role. I'm really humble because that's humility. You know, people mistake humility and simplicity.
Yes.
But that's humility in understanding that I know this, I don't know this. These are my strengths, these are not my strengths. Whenever I speak matters to do with women, or you know, that the people who used to complain, like, we followed you because of public speaking, now you speak about women. Because I'm like, this is something that I'm passionate about. So there are people who will not give me jobs, public speaking jobs, because they're like, I don't like how she deviates and she talks about women and all of that things to do with women. I'm like, then you're not my tribe, and I'm okay not to have your money. So, and this has shown me that eventually the people who show up for my class are the people who go beyond everything else that I do. They're just like, she's a public speaker and I think she knows her stuff. Let me look for her. I also love how she speaks about these other things. So coming to that place of comfort where you know you can't take every bread. I don't want to pick every tab. I don't want to pick every job. I don't want to pick every big business when it comes to my financial aspects. So I want people who interact with me because they're my tribe. And everybody else who is in a different tribe, I'm happy for them to be in their tribe. But also something about respect. You learn things about yourself. Things about self-respect. Most people do not even understand what respect is, because respect usually has been coined with relation to relationships.
Yes.
So, and value, what's your value? Because most people, and especially women, you know, give value in terms of relationship. I'm the prize. I'm very valuable. Women know your worth when it comes to men. But when ask them now, okay, Lynn, I don't want to sleep with you. I don't want you to do labor. I don't want you to have babies for me. So what is your value?
Yeah.
When I interact with you, what do you bring to the table? I can still ask you the same question.
Yes.
So what will you answer?
Zero.
Yes, because people are like, oh, I'm having babies, I'm doing labor. So that is what you bring to the table. Okay. So for someone who's not going to benefit from you in terms of a physical aspect, what are you bringing to the table for them?
Wow.
What is your value systems? And that is something you have to understand. What is my value? It requires a lot of soul searching. Respect. What is respect? What does it look like? Respect for a woman, respect for a man, respect for each other, for yourself. Do you even understand what it means to respect yourself? And then something else is, which has been difficult for most people, is self-esteem. Most people have got to, and you find people who are really beautiful, people who are pretty, and they have low self-esteem. Their esteem is in the tank, is in the trash.
Yes.
And it's not because beauty is supposed to give you self-esteem, but it's because usually we think that people who are beautiful have got high self-esteem. Okay, and then academics does not improve your self-esteem. That is why we have women who are well-read. They have got big jobs, they've got businesses, still swindled by boys who don't even have certificates.
I promise. Why?
So how come? Why are you crying about someone who does not have the level of talent, skill that you do have? You beat them when it comes to making money, but when it comes to life, they beat you. And that is why most women are beat, by the way. Most women, we talk about women, we're empowered, we have jobs, we have the ability to make money. But we are still the ones who are crying foul on social media all the time. Oh, we've been swindled. Oh, it's broken. Oh, all of these things are the ones who are making the loudest noise. Why? It's because we've not done the work on ourselves. When it comes to life, life is not gray, it's not black or white. It's gray. You have to know how to work and to move in this life. Communication skills. You have to understand what are your bare minimums. You have to vet people who come into your life. When you go to a job, people vet you before they give you a job. People come into your life, just you don't vet them. You're very careful about what you give to your child, but you're not careful about who has access to you and to that child. Like, it doesn't make sense. So those are some of the things that when you master yourself, and then there has to be things like discipline. Have discipline in your life. Like, there are women who, and when you talk about women, there are women who lack discipline in their own lives. And that is why most women have messed up lives, broke, in debt, took handbag you did not pay, you have shoes that you have not paid for, clothes that you still are in debt you have not paid for, your house has not been taken care of, food you're always begging, like they're in so much mess. It's because of that discipline of understanding this is my life. And then finally, most people now, because you don't master yourself, you put your life in someone else's hand, and I think that's poor.
Yes.
Putting your life in someone else's hand is a really poor strategy.
It is.
Because people will take advantage of you, number one. And then putting your life in someone else's hands, it means that you are at their mercy. And most people don't want to use their brain. That's why you're looking for someone to lead you. You're looking for someone to rescue you, to come and take care of you. And then when the proverbial hits the fan, people begin to complain because you don't have discipline. Put things in place, put things in measure, and then put necessary measures, and then make sure that you follow through with those things. So that is, self-mastery is an entire discipline. Be committed to the very things that you say you will do, to your own promises, and follow through with them. And understand that people come and go. And also psychology. You see, psychology is very important. When you master yourself, you understand that people are people. And so I know, let's say you're a man, I know that men act a certain way, that maybe we have come to accept that most of them, not all, but most of them cannot resist other women. Even when it just comes to looking at them, not necessarily having to lay with them, but we have come to accept that men will always like the company of women, even if it's just for friendship. Because we understand when you come to energy, that is what the feminine does. The feminine nurtures. That is why even at the workspace, you'll have like work husbands, work wives, office wives, and office husbands. Like, the moment you understand that as a woman, you're not sitting and waiting to be like cheated on or whatever. But if someone shows you their true color and they show you that they're interested in multiple people, it doesn't break you, because you have accepted that this is their nature, that this is who they are. So it gives you room to detach and not feel like you're so hurt. Because what happens with most women is that women are usually the most hurt because they give the most, expecting something in return, and then they don't get it. They gave their youth, they gave their womb, they stopped going to work, they declined
their career.
their careers, they declined taking up that course. And now 15 years later, when someone has decided to do something else with their lives and they've decided to move on or take up someone else, they're like, after all this time and all these things that I gave up, this is what I get at the end of it.
Who asked you?
Who asked you? Yes. And then also understanding that levels, there's frequency. You see, when someone is doing work on themselves, they will not be on the same level with you. And that is why whenever a man supports a woman through school, and then she turns back and she's looking for the people she went to school with, it's nature. Because she's at a totally different frequency. She will want to be with people who are the same frequency as she. The same thing happens with the man. If he's doing the most, he's going to work, he's going to school, he's acquiring property, he's going to look for someone who's at his level. And then when people started out, he was like, I want someone who can kneel, someone who's submissive, rub my back, warm my water. You do that. And then 10 years later, he turns back and is like, you don't challenge me.
Yes.
Hey! I don't challenge you.
What do you mean?
What do you mean I don't challenge? Because now he's looking for someone who can tell him, no, don't do this, let's do that.
Yeah,
and he's become the yes person.
This,
yes.
Move this way.
And in the beginning, they wanted a yes girl.
Yes.
They wanted someone who says, yes, what are we eating? What are we cooking? And then later on, he's like, I don't like it. And you know, sometimes people resent you for the very thing that they wanted you to do.
Yes.
And so that understanding of human psychology, and also now always putting yourself first. And the first law of self-mastery, self-preservation. You preserve the self. That is why even on planes, you're told, even if it's your child, be the first person to wear the oxygen mask. Before you can even put it on the child, put it on yourself. And that is where most people fail. So self-mastery is taking the spotlight from everybody else. Let me tell you something about women and men. Men are taught, or men grow up loving themselves. And then in life, they're taught how to love others. Women grow up loving others. That is why now they're taught how to love themselves, because they don't know how to do it.
Wow.
And so that self-love, and that's the disconnection that most women have when it comes now to loving themselves. That is why they can't, someone goes to a place and they have to remind you, I'm married, I'm a wife, and I'm a mother. Like always, they feel like if I don't acknowledge others, it makes me somehow, like you see me, when I gave you my introduction, I didn't tell you I'm a mother, or do these things. I don't have to keep on mentioning my child, because it doesn't take away from who I am. Yes.
You're still that.
Yes.
When people come to you, because I've noticed, you have these really great trainings.
Right.
What are some of their struggles? And even some of the people who are watching, what would they learn from you?
Most people have problems to do with indecision. Most people are indecisive. And most people don't know how to make a decision because of the consequences. So people are afraid of the consequences. And so they know, if I make this decision, the consequences are going to be dire. I'm not ready for those consequences. That is why someone can go and ask 5 people, about the same thing. 6 people. What do you think I should do? You see this person, yeah, he provides, or she does this, but
Should I leave?
yes, should I leave? But you know, the other time he hit me, but it was just a slap. So what do you think I should do? You see, because most people are indecisive. They're thinking, what if I leave and maybe I've made a wrong decision? What if I leave and maybe it was just a phase and maybe they weren't that serious and then I'll never find someone like this? That has always been a problem. So the indecisiveness because of the consequences. You say most people want the benefits of success without the process.
Wow, yes.
And the process is very important, and the consequence. So I have to help people make the decision and then get on with the consequence. Be ready for the consequences. Like, know if I'm stepping out, I'm stepping out. And 3 months from today, if I realize I made a wrong decision, will I still stand on business and say that is a decision that I made and I'm going to look forward and move with it. I won't go back. So that you get to a place where you know if I make a decision, I'm not going back on it. The confidence. So take time to make a decision. But when you make the decision, follow through. That is why most people will, out of anger and in haste, I'm leaving. Then they leave. Then a month later, they're stalking the person. They're on their door now knocking. Oh, please take me back.
They are texting.
They're texting, calling them 100 times. When you forgot about me all that while, why has it taken you 2 weeks? So you're the one who left. You're the one who decided to not to respond to my messages and talk to me. And so it makes you feel like a fool. And then the rejection. Most people don't like the ignorance or the ignoring. When someone ignores you, it hurts because you're expecting that if you leave, they were going to feel some type of way. And then you just see, after they picked someone else.
And they moved on real quick.
Moved on real quick. And then it hurts you because you are not ready for the consequences of the choice that you made. You have to be, it hurts, yes, seeing that within 2 weeks, this woman or this girl, this man had already moved on, but I was expecting it. Or even if it has happened, I'm ready to take it. Much as it hurts, I will get through it. So that indecisiveness. And then low self-esteem. And low self-esteem usually comes from, low self-esteem will lead to low confidence. So, and you realize that esteem is an evidence-based thing. You can't fool yourself, or you can't buy yourself or talk yourself through self-esteem. It has to come from a place of evidence where you prove to yourself, I stood up for myself yesterday. That's how it builds on your self-esteem. You just don't sit, I have high self-esteem. No, because the problem with esteem is that depending on the day and the person, people can either raise your esteem or lower your esteem. And that should not be left to people where, Lynn today did not notice me. She didn't say I'm beautiful. Oh my God, maybe I'm not beautiful. Maybe I didn't do a good job. Self-esteem is down. Hi, I come here. Hi, Shangwe na deremo Nangami. I go back, I'm like, oh, my self-esteem today is amazing. Look at me, I'm glowing. So because it's left to people's opinions, and that's not supposed to be it. Your self-esteem is supposed to be always at the same level, whether things are going well or things are not going well. It's supposed to be at the same level. So usually I experience indecisiveness and that lack of confidence, which usually is brought by low self-esteem. Because if you don't have confidence, you're going to do so many mistakes. You're going to commit so many mistakes, and then the ability to speak up. Most people can't speak up. And I think some of it comes from our bringing. People you're children, you're there to be seen and not heard. So most people do not know how to speak. And when people speak, they apologize. I used to have a student who, for some time, if she was not okay with something, she'd be like, Nangami, I don't know if this is the right thing to say. I don't know how you're going to take it, but let me just say, I didn't like this. Or, hey sis, and then they give you the bomb. Or, I usually agree with you, but today I don't agree with you. So you can see that this is someone who has a problem expressing themselves, and then they always apologize. So that need to always apologize. I say to people, if you have something to say, just say it. Let people decide whether it has offended them or not. Instead of saying with all due respect, then go ahead and disrespect someone. Yes. So ability to speak up, and this inability to speak up is the same thing. It's the same reason people can't command things. They can't declare. And the thing that you've been given, the single most powerful tool anyone has ever been given, or human beings were given, is language and speaking. Language. That is why you're a journalist. The power is mightier than the pen is mightier than sword. Yes, your ability to speak and to say things. So most people don't even know how to command. They don't know how to declare things, how to speak life to themselves or over themselves. And I think that is why there's a whole group of people who think that blessings are elsewhere. If I want blessings, Lynn has to lay hands on me because Lynn is anointed.
Envelope here, weka kidogo. 10K for marriage.
Yes. And give me the anointing oil.
Yes.
And water.
Yeah. Then go home and do sure. Yes.
And I think that is a scam that most people have fallen for, because most people do not understand that you are given, number one, language. The ability to wax lyrical, your ability to weave words and then say those things and declare them over yourself. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Can you imagine the ability to either kill or raise someone? It is in the power of the tongue. Each and every time Jesus wanted to do things, he asked the people, what do you want? They had to say it. Even when he knew this man is blind, he needs to see.
Mic drop. You have to say it.
You have to say it. What do you want? Even when, that is why you can't say, but God knows I have problems. Why isn't he helping me? You have to say it.
By the way, kwa nini nakuanga hivi?
Next.
God anaona na struggle.
Si
anaona. He knows in my heart I'm struggling.
Yes, and he knows it.
Yes.
But it has to come from you. Because in this realm, you are the God. In this physical realm, you're the one who says, that is why so many people, we say that so many talents are in the grave. So many good books are still in the grave. Because God cannot come and say, Lynn, I put this thing inside of you. I am going to force you to do it. The last time God forced someone to do it, he found himself in the belly of a well. Yes. The last time the time he tried to force someone, found themselves in the belly of a well, because people are stubborn. They do not want to do it. That is why every time, even Rahab, who was, she was a prostitute, the angels or those men had to appear to her and ask, would you help us? And she said, I will help you. When it came to Mary, the angels had to appear to her and say, fear not. We are asking for your consent. Can we use your womb?
Man.
She just didn't wake up and she was pregnant.
Yes.
She had to consent. She had to say yes. Or when she said, how can this thing be when I know no man? And they said, you don't worry. We will take care of it. We'll figure it out. But she had to consent. And you remember John the Baptist's father, who was like a loud mouth.
Yes.
So when Elizabeth was pregnant, they shut his mouth because they knew anything he says will abort prophecy.
Hey.
So they had to shut his mouth until John the Baptist was born.
Yeah.
That is how powerful your tongue is. If you say, God, you cannot use me, he will not force you. He can't.
If I say I can't do a live audience, he won't force.
He won't. And that's why they say the universe plays no favorites. That is what Michael Jackson used to do.
Yes.
He said, if I have an inspiration, I write it down in the middle of the night and go produce, because if I don't, Prince will. It goes to, it will appear to you, it will appear to me. Whoever will hit the call.
You are not a favorite.
You're not a favorite. So whoever takes it up, that is why sometimes you can, have you ever like seen people, your friends or people you know, they're living a good life and you know, man, they are not half as talented as you are.
As you are. Good.
They're like, we went to school, walikuwa danda class,
walikuwa
wanakojolea dom.
And now they're driving.
They're driving, they're living the soft life, they're doing this because they have spoken with their tongue that, I live a soft life, I live a good life, I will do this, I will do that and the third.
With half of your talent,
incredible things are doing incredible things, and then you're thinking you're odd because you're great at it.
Ama ulirushiwa vitu.
And let me tell you, people curse themselves more than witches curse them.
Wow.
Most people are their worst enemies. You curse yourself. And the people who cursed you first are the people who are earliest in your life, your parents or your siblings or people who are your guardians. Those are the people who curse you because what they feed you is what your subconscious mind is. It has no sense of humor. So usually it doesn't know whether you're joking, ijui jokes, ijui amesema juko you are. And that is why people who are yelled at when they were young, or when they were bullied, as time goes up, when they grow, they still have that fear for people. They want to run and they want to hide. The subconscious mind bought into that nonsense. And there are people who are raised from places where they were encouraged, their talent was supported. You realize that even as they are grown, even when they are failing, they will still talk highly of themselves because they know, I was empowered. I was told I'm ordinary, but I'll still be able to do extraordinary things. Yes. So that's the power of the tongue. Most people cannot command, most people cannot speak. And because most people don't even know how to construct sentences, they don't know what to say. Let me tell you, people are so lazy. They want scripts.
Yes.
People want a script. And as a public speaker, I've refused to give people scripts. That if you go to a boardroom, this is what you're supposed to say. No, you go to the boardroom and figure out what you need to say. Because life is very random.
Na chat GPT.
People go to chat GPT. So what am I supposed to say if they ask this question? Be malleable. You can go to that place and they don't ask you that question. What are you going to say when they ask you a different question?
Yeah, and you had prepared.
And you had prepared the exact things to say. This is what I usually say even in my comment section. Like, oh, how do we command? Tell me how I should command. You're so lazy, you want a script. When someone to tell you, say these words, I am beautiful, I am amazing, I am great. No, go sit with yourself and figure out what's my problem.
What do I want
what
to
do
say?
What do I want
and
to say?
I'm not even going to ask you that question. I'm not going to ask you to tell us how we should command.
Yes, how you should command.
No,
yes.
I wouldn't do that.
Because people are supposed to find it for themselves. We can't have the same script, 8 billion of us. It has to be different. Your circumstance is different. How you say things are different. Because I can say things in my small English that make sense to me. You'll go and say it, you'll be like, she said this word, what does it mean? So it doesn't make sense to you. You don't feel it because it did not come from you. You can say something in the most broken English, but it came from the soul and you feel it. It's yours, on it. And obviously people who have, and in the manifestation industry, they've read Neville Goddard, feeling is the secret. Feel it. You have to feel it. So there are so many things. That is why self-mastery is a work that you do on yourself. And it's a journey that you go alone. And it's a lifelong thing. Yeah. It's not, you don't do it for 2 years, then you've self-mastered. Why do you think monks stay in the Himalayas? They stay alone, just by themselves, a lot, meditating, because that is a journey that only you can go on, and it needs a lot of self-introspection. That is why self-actualization in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's at the top. Because I think you need to be comfortable. Yes. Financially, you have love, you have support, so that you can go on that journey and not be worried you're not sleep hungry, right? I think that's why it comes at the top. But it's also, you can do it even when you're just by yourself, because where focus goes, energy flows. Energy flows. I love it. What do you say? How is your relationship with money? And the reason I asked it's because I've also had people say, Lynn, I know this is my purpose, but hapo hakuna pesa. There is no money. Or I'm passionate about this thing, but there is no money. Money is energy. Yes. We have had money is energy. Yes. People who are in the spirituality or manifestation industry, they say money is energy. People who are in church or religious sects, they will say money is a spirit. So we agree that money is not just paper. Yeah. Money is energy. It comes to you. And when it comes to money, it is how you relate, what you feel about money. That is how it will come to you. And there are people who believe that they need to work hard to make money. And they don't believe that money can come from something simple. But I want to assume, this is me just being presumptuous, you don't make money by just doing this. You have made money through people who have just been like, Lynn, I love what you do. Yeah, I'm blessing you with this. True. People have decided to sponsor you to do this. True. That is the very many ways that money is coming to
actually you. Our first seats on the show when I ventured out, the two
the
seats.
Yellow seats?
Yeah, the yellow seats, those one too. They were bought by a fan of ours.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, like I'll give you the chance. Like I get what you're saying. Sometimes it's not the return of YouTube watanipea pesa ngapi.
And then I do this. Yes. So that's the relationship that you need to have with money, number one. Number two, you have to understand that you are money. Money does not come from anywhere else other than what you do. So if I give my energy and my talent and I'm paid 20,000, that is what I am when it comes to money. So people say, I'm not worth 20,000, I'm worth 50,000. Okay, then prove it. You have to prove it. They will not ask, do this amount of work for us to give you 50,000. No, for this work we pay 20,000. You want to be paid 50, then prove it. You're going to show through what? Your value. So you are the one who's making the 50,000. And you can go from 50,000. Maybe you used to do 50,000. Now you're doing 1 million. So who's making the million? You. So who's the money? You are the money. So you can decide to move from 1 million to 10 million Kenyan shillings. And you don't need to do a lot to get to 10 million Kenyan shillings. You just need to be in the right frame and in alignment. Because people think that they're supposed to make money through doing. You make money through being. So that you become a magnet for money. How you become a magnet for money is through inspired action. Most people don't take inspired action. They just take action. I need to make money, let me sell. Like, I was saying this to someone. This mug goes for, let's say, 1,000 shillings. Yes. and I am on social media and I say I need to create content to make 1 million. I need to sell 1,000 of these mugs. So I am going to say, let me make 1,000 mugs and then market every day until I sell 1,000 of this for me to make 1 million Kenya shillings. That's the mathematics that people make every day. So they come every day, they create content. Oh, this is the mug. If you want delivery, they do that. And someone else who knows that money comes to them easily, they don't have to do a lot to make money. They will just have the inspired action to do something or create a particular content in a particular way that Lynn will say, I love your mugs. I want to buy 100 at once. So they don't have to sell this to 100 people. They just need to sell one person, 100 of them. Or someone can say, I love your mugs. I want to buy all 1,000, Bob. I want to give them to students. I do school things and I want to get all of them from you.
Yes.
So someone else is creating content every day to sell 1,000 of this, and someone else got one client who bought all of them from them. That is how money comes to you when you become a money magnet and you have inspired action, which is something you do coming from you. It has to come from you. And the same thing happens when it comes to service business. Anything, it is the inspired action. Inspired action is very important because it will make you, like, I'm so sure you create content and then you make a video and you're like, see, this is a video we've created, you just get the usual views.
Yes.
And then it does exceptionally well, more than you have even anticipated.
Yes.
And then when you go back and look at it, you realize that actually this thing has done really well. It's not just another content. There was something that was behind this content. That's why it did really well.
Yes.
And it came from someone who is not known. It came from someone who is, usually you think, this big name, this will give us the traffic. And then you find that small person, they're the ones who gave you the traffic.
Yes.
Yes. That is how the universe works. The moment you understand that it will come to you in the most unexpected of ways, for as long as it comes from that inspired action. And what is the purpose for it? What purpose is it serving? So that is the kind of relationship that you need to have with money. And you see, the thing about money is that you cannot lie to the forces, the energy that be when it comes to money. Now, people usually do not understand that you are energy. And that is why, by the way, you need to go to school and understand a little bit of physics. People need to understand it. You see the space that we have here? Yeah. We can't see what is happening, but it's called an electromagnetic field. This space here, everywhere, up in the sky, this field, there are so many waves that are moving. That is why you're a journalist, you understand that is how you tune into frequency. So what is that frequency? This frequency that we have here is in relation to what I'm giving, what I have, because it responds to the energy that I have. This frequency cannot be different from what I do have. So the energy when it comes to money, most people have a very toxic relationship with money, or they have got a fearful, anxious attachment when it comes to money. That's why they can't keep money when it comes to them, because people just think money is money, it's just paper. But when you go to buy something, especially for people who have not had money for some time, you're in lack and limitation. Then you go to a supermarket and you see that you had planned to spend 4,000. Now it's coming to 5,600. What do you feel?
You start to panic.
Yes, people panic.
Even you return something.
Yes. Or sometimes you can have the money to pay the 5,600 from 4,000, but you're getting angry. Like, why is it coming so high? I thought it was going to 4,000, 5,600. So you have an anxious relationship with money because you're not coming from a place of, I'm too abundant, I can afford this. I have enough to take care of all my bills. So when you're coming from that is the feeling that you have about money, the fear, the anxiety. And most people do, that is why you have to take time. Or when you go to eat lunch, people usually are like, I can't pay 2,000 shillings for a meal, for one meal. Why should I pay 2,000 shillings? This 2,000 shillings, why am I paying it for money? With all of that money, this is money I would have used for something else. So you have lack and limitation. For you come from a place where money is usually limited. So every time you spend money, it comes from a place of you're feeling like, oh my goodness, this is a lot of money. I don't have a lot. Why am I spending on this? And the same thing happens with people who say things are expensive. You're not supposed to say something is expensive. Because if you desire it, you can have it. But the moment you say something is expensive, you've cut yourself out of it. Because you're saying it's too expensive for who? For me. Because you can't say that a Land Cruiser is expensive and you have Land Cruisers every day on the road. There are people who can afford Land Cruisers. So who is it expensive to? You. It's not expensive because there are people who can afford a V8, a G-Wagon. I saw a G-Wagon the other time. I think there was some I saw for 42 million.
Yes.
And someone is buying a piece of metal for 42 million and they'll still have some more money left with themselves because they're in abundance and they know that they have more of it. So anytime you say something is expensive, you've cut yourself out of it. Now, when people want to have more money in their lives, they talk about money, things being expensive, and yet expect to be given extravagantly. You're speaking from both sides of your lips because you're saying that you want extravagance. Now, the universe does this, or God, or whatever, the powers that be. They test you with something very little. So, Lynn, your top is very beautiful. This one, I even bought it for 500 shillings. It's not that expensive. So you're not good at receiving. And most people want to receive something big, 200,000. And then, like right now, you can realize you might have a financial problem that you're looking towards in the millions. And then you realize that Nangami comes here and she just gives you 1,000 bob. And you're like, okay, thank you, but I wanted 1 million. No,
I wish
1,000.
I can pay 100,000.
By 100,000, it would have gone somewhere. It would have gone a mile. That small that you're given, the talent you're given small. They talked smack about it. It was taken away from them because people don't know how to appreciate. Money is money. Whether it's 10 shillings, whether it's 1,000 shillings, it is money. And so people who think that small money is different from big money are the ones who will always have a problem, because the effort it takes to manifest 10 shillings is the same effort it takes to manifest 1 million shillings. It's not different efforts that it takes that you say, 1 million shillings, now I need to. No, it's the same thing. The thing that matters is your rate of vibration, which is your energy. And money is an entire subject when it comes to mastering and understanding. So anyway, the long and short of this is when it comes to money, you have to understand that money flows to you. How it flows to you is none of your business. Number one. Number two, you have to understand that you are a magnet for miracles. Miracles happen to you. And that is why today we can sit here and have this conversation. Then you get a call from someone and they're like, oh, Lynn, by the way, we have this deal that we wanted to do with you. Can you come over to the office? Like,
bring it on.
Yes, bring it on. Like you wake up, something comes in a way you did not expect. You're not even expecting that call. I'm so sure you've had so many times.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's because you never sit and take the time and understand you are a magnet for miracles. Because it happened in the least expected way. I'm so sure even sometimes when you look at yourself, you look at how you have come or you've risen up the ranks. And you're looking at yourself and you're like, perhaps you're not the person who's well-spoken compared to others who are doing the same show that you're doing. You don't have the peppers. You don't come from the background that others come. How did you come up here? How did you rise through the ranks? You're not the most talented. Perhaps you're not the most skilled. But why did this territory accept you? The territory, this Nairobi has rejected so many people, but this territory accepted you. Why? You can't explain it.
Because I am a magnet for miracles. No many
You're a magnet for miracles. Yes, and I'm so sure there are so many opportunities that have been given to you. Even you look at yourself, you're like, wow.
Yep.
This is such an opportunity. I didn't even think I merited for this opportunity. Yes. And it came to you in the most simple and easy. You're not even consciously waiting for it, but it happened because the universe has a million ways of blessing you.
Yes.
And it's because you have sat in that power of understanding that good things will come to me. You're a magnet for miracles. And people who understand this, when it comes to making money, it doesn't become difficult. That's why even when they fall and lose everything, they know they'll still come up.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing this by themselves. But people who are doing this life by themselves, that's why I usually say, you have an army, use it. You have the universe, you have things that are working for you. But if you decide to live this life and work it alone, you will live it and work it alone and you'll struggle.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you this, there's a time I needed to move. So I had told my landlord that I'm moving. Because I think we had overstayed our welcome. I had outgrown the place. And so they say, okay, which date are you leaving? I give them the date, I give them the time. So they say, we're going to bring someone over to the house. We'll send someone over to the house to come and evaluate the place so that you can leave. At that time, I am sat that morning, I wake up and I have 198 shillings in my phone. And this is the day I've said I'm moving. I need movers. The place where I'm supposed to go, I've told them I'll send money by noon for the rent deposit and everything. I wake up in the morning, but when I woke up in the morning, I was so at peace because I'd been doing the work during the week. Money was not coming the way I'd expected it. So when I woke up that morning at 8, I remember I went and bought mandazis for breakfast. I bought thing for 60 shillings. So no, I bought for 100. So I was left with 98 shillings. I said, we're going to eat these mandazis and We will move today.
Yes.
So I'm left with 98 shillings. I look at my phone, I look at myself, and I say, like, Jesus Christ, I bless and multiply. I'm blessing this money and I'm multiplying it. Then I forgot about it, because the beauty about this thing is that once you do the work on yourself, you get to a place where you're detached. You know it will happen. You're taken care of. So for me, at the back of my mind, I knew I would move. Yeah. Then noon comes. The guys come into the house. They look at us. You people have not packed? Because our clothes are still in the shelves. Because a part of me was like, shoot, maybe I called it too soon.
Yes.
So I was like, if I don't get the money today, I'll just tell them to give me an extra day to extend my stay. So, but then again, something just tells me, just sit in the moment and just know it is done. You're taken care of. So they evaluate the place, they go to the washrooms, they do everything, they come and they say, by the way, we were told that you're supposed to move by a certain time, and we see you haven't packed. When do you intend to pack? So I said them, no, it's because I'm waiting for someone to come and help us, then we can move. Did you know, once this lady was done, she comes with a sheet of paper and she writes the things down. She says, oh, we think the toilet bowl, has this. I think she had only 2 things that she had found out that needed a little bit of replacement. So when she says that to me, immediately she's done telling it to me, my M-Pesa goes on. And I have money, voila. From a client whom I didn't think would send the money. And I had the money enough. So I just stood up and we started packing and we left. So it is understanding that money will come in the ways you do not accept, you do not understand. I'll give you another example. This particular day, I'm supposed to pay for a bill. I don't have the money. And I call this person and I tell them, I'll send you the money by evening. It gets to 6 p.m. I don't have the money. And so I give up. I'm like, let me make dinner, and then I handle my class. I have a class at 8 p.m. And then I'll tell them at around 9 that I didn't get the money. Let us push it to tomorrow. But I told them I'll have the money by 6. It gets to 6. I don't have the money. It gets to 7. I'm making dinner ready to serve so that I can have get ready for the class at 8. At 7:45. I've already given up. I've forgotten about, I've made up my mind, money is not coming. At 7:45, a client calls me from 2 months ago. And she says, by the way, I remember I called you 2 months ago and you told me you have these classes on Wednesday. Can I pay now? Wow. For this class that is coming, because it was a Wednesday. For this class that's about to begin at 8, I say yes. Immediately in 10 minutes, she sends me the money. That's when I knew, in the grand scheme of things, there's no time. There is no time. Everything happens now, in the present moment. It will happen when it will happen. So if it has not happened, it's because it's not the right time, but it's still happening now. Now, finally, I'll give you a funny example of a friend that I do know. So this friend of mine, I had met through another friend. So this is the time when, let me mention her, Namalo Chisoli. Namalo, my friend. Hi, Namalo. So Namalo had introduced me to a particular friend, and this friend is called Brenda. So she introduced me to Brenda. We're supposed to do work together, the 3 of us. And a particular time I'm looking at Brenda. Brenda drives like a nice car. She has like a Mustang. Yes. I'm like, Mustang. I look at her, I'm like, and she's a Bukoso girl like me. You know, most of her. She has a Mustang. I think I have sold you out. I have sold you out.
Me, I want to ride in a Mustang.
Brenda, can we be friends? Can you? So I saw her and was like, oh my goodness. So I began to ask her, like, how can you afford this car in this country? People avoid having this expensive car. She gives me the entire stuff. She talks to me. Then I ask her, by the way, how did you come to this mindset? Because Brenda has such an abundant mindset, and I knew her. So let me give you the genesis of it, how people meet and how destiny connectors happen. So this girl called Namala is someone who, in my community, she's like a big deal. She creates content in our vernacular. So she's one of those people that you look up to in the vernacular industry. So she reaches out to me, Namala. She says, Nangami, I've seen you on TikTok, you come from the community, I want us to be friends. So I go meet her, we have lunch, we become friends. So maybe a week later, she says, but there's this particular girl who's from the community also, I want you to meet her so that the 3 of us can do something. So she links me to this lady. When I was meeting Namalwa, this is back in the day, I was thinking, she knows people who know people. This girl is the one who's going to introduce me to the who's and who's, because I'm like, she's going to be my ladder. You know, when you meet people and you're like, she knows this person, I'm going to have I'm going to improve my networks. So I meet her and she introduces me to Brenda finally. So I meet Brenda and I see how she lives her life, very abundant mindset. Now remember back in the day I was a Rastafarian. So I did a lot of meditation, abundance mindset, how to bring things to reality creation. I understood that concept, but I had forgotten about it. So when I meet this Brenda, she begins to tell me how she lives her life. Like she travels for luxury, she goes out to, just to have a good time. She's like really abundant and she's employed. It's not like she's running a business where she's making like millions, but she lives like a rich girl. And when you look at her life, you can tell it's not like she's doing any shoddy things. It's because she's tapped into the consciousness. So that is something I understood about her. I knew where that was coming from. So I have a conversation with her. I asked Brenda, by the way, tell me how I'm going to also tap into this, because I can see how you're living your life. I want to tap into this thing that you have. So Brenda gives me books. She says, go read Neville Goddard, go read Florence Scovel Shinn.
Yes.
These people are really great when it comes to this ability to create, Then I go and begin to search. And when I'm searching, that's when I find other people who are doing incredible things. That's when I even stumble on Julian Rose. I think you had her here. So I stumble on all of these people by myself. She just gave me 2 names, but I stumble upon all of these people because I see how she's living her life in abundance. I want to live this life. So a particular time comes in. I can't find Brenda. We can't find Brenda. I'm trying to look for Brenda. We need for her to do something. We can't find her. So we're trying we had a group, the 3 of us, we had a group. So we are looking for Brenda. Where are you? She's not responding. I'm trying to call Brenda, can't pick. She's not picking my calls. So in the evening later on, she comes in. She's like, apologies, ladies. I couldn't show up because of something I was doing, and I needed to manifest 1 million shillings in 24 hours. And so that's what I was doing, and I've been able to find the money to do whatever it is I want to do. The next day I call her. What do you mean you manifested 1 million shillings in a day, in 12 hours? Because it wasn't 24. So she tells me she had a problem. I think either it was with a car or something, and it was an expensive investment that she needed. So she goes and she's told, by the way, you need 500 for this, and you need 480 for this. So it amounts to around 900. And she leaves that place and she says to the person, okay, I have the money. I will pay it by evening. And so this is what she's saying to me. So once she got there, she realized she didn't have the money, but she went and sat somewhere and took 30 minutes, shut down. She shut everything down. And then she said to herself, I am the source of all abundance. This money that I need is in me. This 1 million shillings that I need, I can produce it, because everything comes from me, from the source that is within me. And I need inspired action to know what to do next. She leaves, goes through the day. She's like, money will come to me. Do you know she gets a call randomly from her former bosses, because she works for like a big corporation. And this person had left the organization and they had moved to a different country. So this person just randomly calls her on WhatsApp and he's checking up on her. And he's like, oh, by the way, hi, how are you? You know, how are you doing? Da, da, da. But it has the car. And she's like, oh, the car, it's had an issue. It's even at the garage. It needs 1, 2, 3 things. And I'm looking for money. I don't have the money. And the guy's like, okay, let me see what I can do. Sends her almost half the money. And then she goes through the day. And I think she gets now this idea, call this person. One person. She calls the person. And when she calls this person and she gives him the story, she's like, oh, I have this financial da-da-da I need to do. The person sends her another amount of money, almost half of what she wanted. So she needed 1 million. By the end of the day, she had 1.2 million. And that's why she comes and she tells us. So I'm like, I understood where this came from. That's why I talk about inspired action. So there's a time when I was going through my own problems, my own issues. I said, let me borrow from what Brenda did. So this time, let's take an example of rent. So rent has been due. It was different, but let me give the same environment, the same example. That's how I usually tell it. So rent is due. And the people who've come to collect, they've come to collect their money, don't have the money. And so they say, you have to leave. Because you've paid up until this point, don't have the rent money, you leave. I'm like, cool, I'll leave. So they come, I leave the place. And then I'm with my son. I go to a certain cafe and I go and sit there and I tell myself, I am the source of all abundance. I am not going to call a single soul to borrow money to handle this thing. You will tell me what to do. So what I do, I go to Arboretum. I go and sit in nature and I go and say, Mother, I am here. We are one with everything. There's no separation. I am in trouble. This is how you use your mouth to speak. Acknowledge your problems and then ask for direction. In my limited understanding, I don't know how I'm going to flip this thing again. And say, for instance, it's rent, I've been kicked out. I said, I'm not going to someone else's house. Neither am I asking for anyone to send me money to pay rent elsewhere. You are going to tell me what to do. And I sit in nature. Crickets. Nothing happens. But I shut down. Social media, that was the first time there were no notifications coming in. There was no WhatsApp message. TikTok, nobody was giving me notifications. Nothing. So I'm looking at this, I'm like, where? The evidence, there's no evidence of money coming in. Nobody's even calling me. It's 3. We went to that place at around 11 a.m. It's 3 p.m. I need to sort this thing out with urgency. I sit in nature and I continue just being in the present moment. Creation happens now in the present moment. You see, creation, when people are moving between the past and the future, you disrupt things. Where focus goes, energy flows. So if you're thinking about the past and you're like, oh my goodness, my house has been closed. Hey, what will happen today? Maybe I need to look for a bed sitter. Maybe I need to look for a one bedroom. Yes, maybe I need to look for one bedroom. Your focus is the past, it's in the future. It's not here. It needs to be in one thing. My decision, my problem has been solved, and you stay in that moment. You allow all your energy to go there, all your focus to go there, energy goes there, vibration happens, frequency, it comes into reality. The reason why people can't bring things to their reality is because they move three things. It's because they move three things. So as I sit in nature and I'm sat in nature, I say, creation happens now. And then I begin to feel abundant. And I don't have the money. So I begin to feel abundant love, peace, joy, all of it. Just I begin to feel it. I'm abundant, and a lot of it is going out. And I begin to see myself even giving people money. People who need money, I'm giving it to them. And I sit in that moment. Lynn, it gets to 7 p.m. Money has not showed up. And I'm beginning to give up. I'm like, hey. Then I begin to walk around just outside of Arboretum now. I begin to walk around and I begin to command things. I say, I will not leave this place. If you want me to sleep here, we will sleep here until I get this money now. After I'm done, I go back to that cafe or that restaurant. I go sit down. Immediately, something tells me, call this client. Now that client had told me they will send me money the next week. This is Saturday. They had told me they don't do business over the weekends. They don't have money. I called this client. It was just one phone call that I needed to make. I called this client at 7. They're in the UK. The client asked me, hey, Nangami, it's so funny that you've called me this late. You rarely call this late. I said, it's because you're supposed to pay me some money. I'm just calling to confirm if you, by any chance, you have money over the weekend, because I have an emergency that I need to take care of now. Although I know you had said you pay me the money on Tuesday. Do you know what the client says? The client says, I usually don't do business over the weekend. But surprisingly, my client has paid me money now at 6 p.m. So I'm going to send you the money immediately. Do you need half of it or all of it? I said, half. All of it? Send me all of it. And the client sent me all the money. So when I went and sat with myself, I said, that is how creation happens. Because I am, the universe, because I sat in that place of creation, it had to look for the person who was the least. I didn't know anyone else was going to pay me money because this person had already said they don't have money over the weekend. It goes, it's like mechanics, it's working. It went behind the background, gave someone money to pay my client, and then told me, now call this person. Because now they're the ones who have your money. And that's how I understood now when it comes to creation and understanding that I don't have to do it alone. That's the understanding you have to do with money. Sometimes you don't have to do it alone. It will come in the least expected ways.
It will come.
It will come to you.
Man, I could have you here forever. Why do I feel like we've not even scratched, you know? Like every time you move from one different topic, you know, purpose, money.
Yes.
I feel like this is just a standalone conversation on its own, you know?
Sure.
But I don't want to let you go.
No. I know.
I don't want to let you go. But if you feel like there's anything you want to add on today's conversation, because I'm a fan of having our guests come back.
Right.
Because I love the way you've said, I love having a tribe of guests. If I'm talking about purpose, public speaking, abundance, I know we have Nangami, and I know she's like, I'm a magnet. So miracles. I attract the right people. So I love creating a tribe of guests who I know. We've had this conversation before, and I know they can be able to walk us through this extensively. So I wouldn't mind having you back on the platform if you agree.
Yes.
If you agree.
Right. I'm just right here.
You're just right here. But before I let you go, do you want to add? Is there anything important you feel like, Lynn, I really needed to say this that we've not said? Feel free.
I think the one thing that I can say is that the answer is within you. Yeah. The answer is within you. And it saddens me a lot to see people go to all the places where they can find help, except where help has always been. I'll say this to you. Maybe this is a controversial statement. I've not stepped in church for maybe 3 years now. But I can tell you I have an incredible relationship with God. Because God, if he wants to speak to me, he knows where to find me. And if I want to speak to him, I know where to find him. And my answers have always come the moment I persisted from within. And I have had this conversation, and I appreciate people who will go to places, they go to mountains, they go to hotels, they go to retreat centers. Perhaps that's The farthest your mind is from home, the clearer it is. Like the farthest you are from home, the clearer your mind is. And I understand why people would choose to go away from home, maybe just for clarity. But I hope that when people go away from home to look for help, it's for the clarity. It's not because they think that help is there. Because where you are, there God is.
Wow, when people go away from home,
yes,
it's for clarity.
It's for clarity.
And not because they think
help is there. Help is not there. It has always been there. Because you will come with the answer and then you make that place a God. You'll think that if I want to succeed in something, I have to go to this place. Then it becomes an idol. And God has always been with you. So when you have troubles, please learn how to go within. The answers will always come. Because that which, you see, like this cup of water, yes. It is a full cup of water. And this is how infinite God is. God is infinite. We cannot understand the depth and breadth of God. If we understand God, then he ceases being God. Because we can be able to put him in a box and explain him. But the fact that we cannot explain his workings, the fact that we have so many religions, we have so many practices, it goes on to show you how infinite he is. All of us are right. And in his infinite nature, because he is inexhaustible, he has poured a drop of himself in each and every one of us. That means that we come with him in us, embedded divinity. That is why the Bible says that you are your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and that the temple of God was not built by hands. So where is the kingdom of heaven? It's within you. So if you want to find God, you find yourself. The moment you find yourself, because when you find yourself, you have found God. That means that you and the Father are one. And that is one of the conversations that Jesus wanted us to take from it. You and the Father are one. So if you and the Father are one, then go within. Every answer for everything you need. Be patient. It will come. That is why you seek ye the kingdom of heaven, or you seek ye the kingdom of God. The kingdom is within.
Yes.
When you seek the kingdom of God and its righteousness, righteousness is get rid of the ego, the fear, the anger, the shame, the guilt, the doubt, the pride, the arrogance. You get rid of all of this. You come to divinity. You come to holiness. You come to that place of understanding your I am. Because the scripture says, I am able to do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ever ask or imagine. Where is I am? Be still and know I am God. God is in stillness. So once you do that, you will have found God. There's nothing that you will never have. It will always give you an answer. For everything that you do. Relationship, mental problems, I am will always give you an answer. Yeah. You always have it. Nobody, we are part of the collective. No, you're not better than me, I'm not better than you. What is in you is in me. And this is for those who are of the Christian proclivity. I just want you to understand this, that if you claim that you have Jesus within you and Christ is in you, then why are you struggling? Why can't you pay your rent? Why can you take care of your kids? Why? Because you have got the Christ consciousness in you, not outside, inside of you. And whatever you claim, that is, yes. It is. So if you claim that Jesus is in me, and you see that he was able to bless things, no matter how small it was, it multiplied. He was able to walk on water. He was able to do so many things that are miraculous. You are a magnet for miracles. So I want them to understand that. The moment you begin to internalize this, when you go to those mountains, when you go to those places to seek, go and ask divinity to be revealed to you. It will be revealed, and it is infinite. That is how you are powerful, and that is how you are limitless. And finally, this is what I want to say. The scripture says, for I have not given you the spirit of fear, but power. And you have the power to do. The scripture does not tell you power to do what. It has just left it at power. It is not second-hand power. God did not manufacture the power. He's given you his own power. And most people will perish because they don't even have this knowledge. And most people will think they're incapable, ineffective, and look for it elsewhere. And it has always been within them. And like I said, you don't complete your purpose now, you will come back again.
Whether you like it or not. Whether you like it
or not. You will come back 100 times until you learn your lesson.
Man, you're so easy to talk to.
Ah, thank you.
And I've learned a lot. So sometimes I say I'm the great beneficiary of this conversation. I always say I'm the first student course. Like right now, the things I know I need to go and do, the studies I know I need to go and have, like you've just honestly taken me to a level.
Okay.
I know I needed to go. I just needed the push. Lynn, get out. Lynn.
Have you had?
Imagine. So, na wataisikia. Watasema courtesy of my girl.
I'm like, have you heard what Lynn has said? She has given me flowers. So I'm like,
a lot of flowers.
Right.
And I know there are so many people who would love to come to you for this is not an ad. You've not even asked me to ask you for your number. You've not asked me to advertise the services that you're offering.
Okay.
But maybe for anyone that would love to seek your services, could you give them a way forward? How can they connect with you?
Right.
Or where can they find you? Yes.
By the way, I have a program that is coming on. It's called Getting Unstuck. So Getting Unstuck 2. We had Getting Unstuck 1,
right?
Yes, Unstuck 1 in January. And the people who are in that group, they're having an amazing time. So Getting Unstuck, whether you're at rock bottom or you are, going through the most. So yeah, it's on my social media, especially on TikTok. Come and get unstuck and find the tools that you can use and use that power, the power of God and everything else, and how you can marshal things to work for you so that you can unstuck yourself. It's starting on the 8th of March. So early registration is incredible. And then 2, public speaking. Yeah, let me teach you how to be an incredible speaker, how to communicate, how to, sometimes people like people who can speak really well and people have the confidence. So sometimes it's hot air, yes. Sometimes we are all light and no heat, but someone who can speak really well will have access into certain spaces compared to people who are most talented, because they're just able to, we love listening to people when they speak. So those are the 2 things, public speaking and also getting unstuck. And my number, I give my number. The number that you can reach out is on WhatsApp. Don't, when you call or when you text, you may not get the results that you want. So 0715 458 271.
Good.
Yes.
0715
458 271.
271.
Yes.
That's let the WhatsApp.
Yes.
Na wenye watumiangi WhatsApp kasisi.
Wanatumia mpesa.
Guys, say
Rachel Masakha.
Prepare email.
Anyway, my address is Rachel.
Yes.
RAYCHELLE Masakha. MASAKHA 186@gmail.com.
Yes. Imagine kuna wengine kasisi we don't use WhatsApp.
Like true
story. Like true story. But I appreciate you.
Right.
It's been amazing getting to have this conversation with you. And I know this was just an introduction.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure people would love us to tackle a couple of, things we've spoken about in depth. So I hope I can be able to have you for another episode or 2. But for me, it's a dream come true. First, to get to interview someone who considers our platform worthy, and also to learn from you. There are so many things I've left. There are so many take homes for me in today's conversation.
Right.
And I hope even the people who are watching, they can be able to benefit from your knowledge. And those who are seeking extensive services, they can be able to come and join your classes or the courses that you have. And I can't wait to see how that goes. Thank you. Do you want to end the show for us? So how we end? You're a public speaker. It shouldn't be hard for you. How we end, we say thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you've learned and what you are learning. And also, I think you can say thank you to our sponsors, King's Developers. And anyone that is watching, please, wambia asante.
All right. So ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, so this has been your co-host, Nangami Masakha. And for those of you who are on the journey of learning, relearning, and learning, please be serious about it, because remember, you're the most important thing in the universe. And you becoming better, that means that you're changing the world and you're making it a better place. Because once you become better, then by definition, the world has become a better place. So thank you to all of you who've watched this content or this video up until this moment, to the end of it. That means that you're really committed to supporting our girl, and also perhaps I brought something incredible to you that had you stuck up until the end. And thank you so much to the King's Developers, who are the sponsors of this incredible show, and to each and every one of you who has listened. Adios, amigo. Thank you.
My co-host. Guys, give that the clap in this house. Yay! Nikienda hizo places, trips, motherhood ikiingia, maternity, you are ready to come through. Sawa basi.
You can call on me.
Hakuna gap kwa show.
This is not friends.
Guys, whether
you're
co-host.
Nimejiweka kwa position by force.
No,
Unacheza na
see,
mimi.
by force. That was so...
I can correct.
That was so beautiful. That was so beautiful.
Thank you.
So effortless.
Thank you
You're
so
gifted.
much. Thank you so
and
much.
thank you for sharing your gift with us.
I
See you
appreciate
guys.
it.
10 a.m., 7 p.m. Siongezi kitu. Bye-bye.